So it took several attempts, but I finally finished watching A Good Day to Die Hard, the fifth installment in the Die Hard franchise. And it is a godforsakenly awful movie. I'm just going to say that point blank right off the bat. I mean, it opens up with a little cameo from his daughter, who was in the Live Free or Die Hard, which was actually a pretty good movie. But at any rate, it opens up with her, and he's going to Russia and to try and see his son, Jack, who works for the CIA. There's this guy, Yuri Komarov, who has some dirt on some terrorists, so they want him dead, and it's John McClane's son, Jack's job to, basically keep this dude safe, and John McClane happens upon all this, all hell breaks loose, and boom, wha-bam, right off the bat, everything just explosions and car chases, and one of the things that made the first Die Hard such a great movie and such a model for what all the other ones should have been is how well it represented the working stiff, how well it represented the grunt, the struggling man, who's working all the time, and maybe he's kind of a stubborn bastard and he's having marital problems and kind of estranged from his kids, and he's surrounded by all these elitist idiots but they don't know what the hell they're doing. This is the guy who gets his hands dirty, who gets in there, he's motivated and he does shit. He's a character that's very likable, and in the first Die Hard, that was very well established. They took enough time in the first Die Hard to really kind of flesh out where the story was going. You got a sense for who John McClane was. You understand what's going on in the beginning, that his wife got a job, like a ritzy job in LA, and he was kind of that stubborn old school dude who's embarrassed about the fact that his wife is making more money than him, and maybe he wasn't 100% supportive of her. But, you also kind of get the flip side of that too, where it's like a lot of the people that she's hanging out with are kind of coked up douchebags. It's like watching John McClane get one up on the cops, over the intercom. It's just like, yeah, it's like, take that. It's one for us common folk. And it's like, you had a pretty unnecessary sequel, Die Hard 2. I like Die Hard 2 better than A Good Day to Die Hard by leaps and bounds. You have the third one where, he hasn't been talking to his wife for a while. And Samuel L. Jackson, who, honest to godly, was a great sidekick. I mean, he really kind of stole the show a little bit. The two of them made such a good team in that movie. And the whole thing is, at the end of the movie, John McClane's like, all right, I'm going to give my wife a call, okay? In the fourth movie, he's divorced. It's kind of almost surprising, honestly, that it took 4 movies for him to get a divorce. And it's like he has his estranged daughter who sort of falls into this whole thing with a cyber terrorist. And honest to godly, I think that was the best of all the sequels. Then you get A Good Day to Die Hard, where John McClane has a son who works for the CIA, who has his genetics, who has his go-get-em kind of a thing. That would have really, frankly, been a perfect ending to the entire series had it been done right. Had they taken the time to get you to really give a damn about his son. I have no beef with Jai Courtney. I mean, I think he was miscast as Kyle Reese. I think his performance was okay in Terminator Genesis, but it's just like Michael Biehn was kind of like a stringy dude, and this guy's just he didn't look right for the part, but it was really nothing against his acting or anything like that. And I thought he was great as Captain Boomerang. I thought that he was in his element in Suicide Squad. He was actually one of the few things that I can honestly say I liked about Suicide Squad. So no beef with Jai Courtney as an actor. I hated him in this movie. I hated him because you don't have any backstory for where he comes from. It's just from the second that he sees Bruce Willis, it's like, what are you doing here, John? And he kept on saying that, I'm not listening to you, John. And it's just like, oh, God. And it's like, that's just it. That's just it. That's all the character. And then there's just all this action and fights and car chases and shit. It's like, I didn't give an honest-to-God shit about any of these characters. I really didn't. Even John McClane. I mean, Bruce Willis did the best with what he had, but I mean, I just didn't care. I had no investment behind any of the copious action in this movie. And it's kind of strange because you think that a movie this action-packed wouldn't be boring. You'd think that even if it kind of sucked, you'd be sort of like, no, like, you know, it's got solid action kind of. No, man, no, it was boring. I mean, they dropped the ball big time. Another thing that I would just like to point out is this movie is like an hour and a half long, just over an hour and a half long. Every single preceding Die Hard movie was 2 hours plus. You could have easily taken that first half hour and just set up a story that people would have actually given a shit about, but they didn't. Which kind of makes me wonder, because there is an extended edition to the movie available on Google Play, and someday I will watch it, some distant day when I'm in the mood to torture myself, when I'm feeling a little masochistic, I'll rent the extended version to that. You know, maybe it went through production hell, maybe the director had a good idea and the studio was like, nah, take this out, cut that, do this. It's always a possibility, but I have to say that the theatrical product that actually made it to theaters, that people actually paid money to go out and see, sucked. Die Hard 2, a lot of people say that sucked. I don't think it sucked. I think it was an unnecessary sequel, and I think that it was just a generic action movie. And being compared to such an epic movie as Die Hard, yeah, that makes it even a little bit worse. But at least Rennie Harlin tried. They could make another Die Hard movie in the future, I suppose. You know, maybe McClane's like about to retire and then something goes haywire, or Hans Gruber's sister, you know, decides to start blowing up some buildings or something like that. They could call it Die Hard with Viagra. It'd be awesome. But no, it wouldn't. No, just leave it alone. Die Hard is just such a great action movie, and it's really kind of a... I feel like I'm being very passionate about this. It's like every franchise that consists of like 5 or more movies has at least one dog. So I should really go easy on it. It's just such a missed opportunity, I feel. I really, really feel that given the, I mean, exact same plot, honest to godly, they really could have come up with something that was leaps and bounds better than this. All right, guys. That's all she wrote.